Good morning, all of you. Still, some people have to join. See, in the previous class, am I audible? Please, someone confirm. Okay. So, in the previous class, I've shown you how to create a user-defined object, and we have added properties to those objects, even function also to that object. So, that is one way of creating an object. Alternatively, you can also do you can also create objects in JavaScript using a function with whatever object you want to create, that object you have to give a name, and with that name you can create a function like this. So this function is actually a constructor. It is not actually a normal function, but it is like a constructor. And then later we can use this constructor to create objects of this class of this object type student. Right? Just like we define classes in Java, and in that class we define a constructor. And if we don't define a constructor, automatically a constructor with that class name will be automatically defined by Java, and that is called as a default constructor, right? But in coming to JavaScript, we don't have the concept of class here. We only have the concept of objects. So when you want to create an object with that particular name, what you need to do is you can create a function with that same name with which you want to create an object, and any parameters you want to pass to that object, that also you can mention. Using the function keyword, you have to define that function. And in that function, you need to initialize all the properties and functions by using this keyword. So after that, what you can do, see, look at this function. This function is named as student, right? Till here, object is created, a function is created with name student, and S is given as capital letter because the naming convention uh, we follow. It is not mandatory, but I have used camel case letter, sorry, Pascal case letter. So student now is going to be an object. So for creating an object student, you need to create a constructor for that student object. So how to create a constructor? Constructor is nothing but a function. So use the keyword function, mention the object name, and if any parameters you want to pass, you mention those parameters in the parentheses, open the brace, and then close the brace. Within the brace, you initialize all these properties. So three parameters we are passing. So with those three parameters, I'm initializing this dot name is equal to name, this dot roll number is equal to roll number, this dot branch is equal to branch. So I hope all of you know why this keyword is used here. So if you know very well, then it is okay. Otherwise, let me know. I'll explain it. Otherwise, uh, you'll be in a confusion. Again, later you'll also use this concept in somewhere in servlets or JSP also. So there you'll not understand, right? So everyone knows, I hope, what is the purpose of this keyword in Java. Same is the purpose here also in JavaScript. Any issue related to this keyword, please let me know now itself. Otherwise, it is useless me explaining this, assuming that you know about this keyword. Text, at least text a message if you can't speak. No issue. Dheeraj, Dheeraj, are you there? So what is the purpose of this keyword? Object value. After asking a question, some people are leaving the class. Anybody else? Any more answers? Any answers? Nikita? Nikita? Who is this? Krishna. Krishna Chippu. It refers to the current object. Theoretically, saying that is right, but practically how it will work. Program that I want to know. Current object means what? What do you mean by current object? Everyone is saying that current object, but what do you mean by current object? Open up frankly, people. I don't understand why you insist on, why you stay calm. If you don't know completely the meaning, you can say. Okay, leave it. Leaving it to you only. Say, look at this. The purpose of this keyword is this one. This is used to access the members of a class even before an object is created for the class. Even before an object is created for the class. What do you mean by even before an object is created for the class? See, look at this class name. This class is called this keyword class. The class name itself is given as this keyword. Another class called this demo is defined, in which main method is defined. See, I have two instance variables A, B, which are members of this class, this keyword. And then for the constructor, I'm passing two parameters. Even their names are also same as A and B. So don't think that this A is same as this A. This is instance variable A and this is parameter A. So I've mentioned in the comment here, parameters A and B are local to the constructor. So their scope is limited only to this constructor. So you cannot use this A and B parameters you pass to this constructor or any method, not just constructor. You can pass parameters even to methods like display here, right? So any parameters you pass to the method or a constructor, they are confined only to that method. They are local to that method or constructor. So here in this case, because this is the constructor, even this A and B variables that we are passing as parameters, their scope is limited only to this block, that is to this method definition, to this constructor definition. But coming to this A and B, they are different. They are instance variables. They are members of the class this keyword. So you know class contains two kinds of members. One is instance variables, the other one is methods. So uh, this variables, they have scope limited to this class. They can be accessed anywhere inside this class. And if you want to access these variables outside the class, then you need to create an object for this class and then access them with that object. Object name dot this variable name. Object name dot this variable name. Right? So, but what is happening here is normally we create these variables like x comma y like this, which means they are instance variables. Here you have a and b, so their names are different, so you can distinguish them that they are physically they are different. They are different entities. X is different from a, and y is different from v. But Instead of giving different names for instance variables and the parameters to the methods of a class or parameters to the constructor of a class, if I give same names, then to distinguish between this A, which is instance variable, and this C, which is a parameter, I need some mechanism, right? So I want to assign the variable A, this parameter A's value to this instance variable A. And similarly, I want to assign this B value to this instance variable B. So then how will I write that code like this? Then I have to write the code like this. A is equal to A, B is equal to B. But this is not a valid statement in any programming language. Not just in Java, even if you write it in C or C++ or Python also, this is not a valid statement. You cannot assign the value of A again back to another variable A. This will generate an error for you. So we need to distinguish between these two because their names are different, same. Just like two students in your class may have same name. To distinguish them, we'll have some unique thing called roll number to distinguish them, right? But we don't have that roll number concept here. So what we need to do is, because this is an instance variable, we refer to this instance variable with the object of this class. It is outside this class, right? But by the time you use this variable A here, the object for this class, this keyword is not yet created. It will be created somewhere here in this main method, right? This is where we are creating object for the class, this keyword. tk1, tk2, both are objects for class, this keyword. But here in this constructor, when we are defining this constructor, we have not yet completed the complete definition of this class itself. So even before this class definition is completed, we are trying to use this instance variables A and B, and you want to use the object of this class, this keyword itself, to refer to this variable A. But the object is not yet created. So in that case, what we'll do is we'll take the help of this keyword. This dot A refers to object, right? So which object it is going to refer? It is going to refer to an object that is going to be created in the future in this program, somewhere later in the program. So here I am going to create. So when I create a object for this keyword class using the constructor this keyword, then what will happen? This dot here refers to which object? Whichever object you are creating now, tk1. And when you create a second object like this tk2, then this keyword will be replaced with that tk2 object. So this keyword in runtime will be replaced with whatever object you create, right? Just like a baby is born and we have not yet given any name to that baby, how do you refer to that baby? Simply a baby, right? A toddler or baby will be referring if they don't have name. So in the same way, because the object is not created and given a name for its reference, so in place of that, we'll use this keyword. What is the meaning of this? This is used to access the members of a class even before an object is created for the class, right? So here in this case, what we are using, what is the purpose you are using this keyword here is because the uh, parameters names A and B are matching with the instance variables A and B. But if their names are different, say for example this is X, parameter name is X and this parameter name is Y, then there is no need of using uh, this keyword here because their names are different. So we can use directly B is equal to Y and A is equal to X like this. So this will work fine. So when to use this keyword here? When we want to refer to this instance variable with an object, because variables can be referred directly, but instance variables must be referred with their object. And within the class, we don't require an object to refer to the instance variables also. But in this special scenario, we require this instance variables A and B to be referred with the object by using object dot variable name, because these instance variable names are matching with the parameter names. This is when this comes into picture. So I need to use here this dot A. This dot A refers to which one? The instance variable A. And if you simply say A, refers to this variable A. Okay, I hope you understood. So if you understood, please text me at least. If you can't respond, respond with a text message at least. Only one. Okay, fine. So now let us come back to JavaScript program. So I'm using a constructor. I'm creating a constructor for my object student. So the name of the constructor and the object name will be same in case of JavaScript, right? So we are passing three variable parameters: name, roll number, branch. And in this constructor, I'm using the properties of the object. So the property of the object name is also having same name as that of the parameter name. Right? Just like their instance variable and parameter names are same. Here also the properties. Properties are nothing but variables or instance variables in classes. So every object is associated with some properties. So associated with the student property, student object, I want to have three different properties: name, roll number, branch. So their names are exactly matching with parameter names. So to refer to the object properties, we use this keyword, this dot name, and to refer to the parameter, we use normal name. Right? So this dot name is equal to name, this dot roll number is equal to roll number, this dot branch is equal to branch. Then after that, to create a function, how did we create a function in the previous program we have seen, right? So we have given the function name after the object name, right, is equal to function, right? So here also to refer to that object is not yet created, right? So that is the reason I'm using this keyword even to refer to the method name, method or function name. So this is a function name. So I have to mention it as this dot student name is equal to use the function keyword and mention the parenthesis. Then here what I am doing is return this dot name. So what is this method going to do when you call this function? It is going to return the name of the student, this dot name, right? Similarly, roll number. This is another function called this dot student roll number. This is student branch. So in that way, I'm creating three methods or functions, and all these three methods or functions, what they are going to do is they are going to return. The first one is going to return the name of the student. Second one is going to return the roll number of the student, and third one is going to return the branch of the student. So look at the way syntax is written. So we have seen this in the previous class also. But in the previous class, I didn't mention this function name like using this keyword because there I'm directly creating an object in a different way without using the constructor. So how did we do that in the previous class? Did we use any object here? We didn't use any object here, right? Because we are not creating this function within the object constructor. Instead, we are creating the function outside the object constructor. So when you are referring to this function, you need not use this keyword here. Directly mention the function name, give a colon symbol, then mention the function keyword and followed by parenthesis open and close, and then give the definition for that function. End it with a semicolon. Which one you need to end it with a semicolon? The student object. So this is how you are creating a student. This is the object. So you are creating like with using the keyword where keyword. Where student is equal to, then you open the brace. Then you have added three properties: name, roll number, branch, and then you have added one function called info function. And after the function is completed, you close the brace for function definition, and you also close the brace for object creation, object definition. So whenever the object definition is completed, you need to give a semicolon. Even if you don't give a semicolon also, it will work, right? Uh, so After that, you are making a call to this info function using this object name student. So what is the object here? Student. But here what I am doing here is, instead of creating an object using the var keyword, I am creating an object using the constructor concept. So this is a constructor for the object. So with whatever name you want to create an object, create a constructor function like this by giving the same name matching with that object name. And before that, use the function keyword because this is a constructor. And any parameters you want to pass, mention them with their names separated by comma within the parenthesis. Open the brace and at the end close the brace. So this is a constructor. And inside this constructor, what you can do is you can initialize this properties and functions. How to add properties? In case of the previous program, directly uh, after the brace is opened, you are mentioning the property name given, after that followed by a colon symbol and a value for that one, then a comma to separate the second property and first property, then again property name and its value separated by colon symbol, and a comma to separate the third property and values, like this, and give a comma and give the function definition like this. But in this case, what I am doing is I'm not using that var keyword. Instead, I'm creating a constructor. So within this constructor, when you're writing this code, the object is not yet created, right? So once the constructor definition is completed, then only we can say the blueprint for the object has been created, and then you can access members of this object, that is properties of this object and functions of this object, later by creating an object with this constructor student. So for regular expression and for array, how did we create object? We have used the var keyword followed by object name is equal to new operator and the constructor for that object. So now you can use this constructor student to create an object for this object. So this is how I created. Student1 is the name of the object is equal to new operator, and then I'm using this constructor. So here what is going to happen? These three parameters, Sachin 567 CSE, these parameters will be passed as to this constructor as parameters, and they will be stored in this name, roll number, and branch respectively. And this object is associated with the same instance variable name or property name, roll number, and branch. So these names are matching with this parameter name. So that is why we are using this dot name is equal to name, this dot roll number is equal to roll number, this dot branch is equal to branch. Then to define a function, the previous case, we have directly used the function name followed by a colon symbol and then the function keyword followed by parenthesis open and close. Then open the brace and close the brace. Within the braces, we give the definition for that function. But in this case, what we need to do is we need to use this keyword to refer to this function name. This dot student name is equal to, instead of colon symbol, you have to use is equal to symbol, assignment operator. Then function keyword as usual. Open the brace, close the brace, and after the brace is closed, give a semicolon here. And similarly, if you want to add one more function, use the same this keyword dot function name is equal to function keyword. Then within the braces, give the definition for that function and end it with a semicolon. So in that way, you can add as many functions as you want within this constructor like this. So once this is completed, then you can create object like this. How many objects you want to create, that many objects you can create. So once the object is created like this, then I can access the name of the student, roll number of the student, and branch of the student by calling by using this object student1 dot name, student1 dot roll number, like that. So look at how I'm doing. Document dot write student details, then name followed by a colon symbol. Then I'm concatenating it with student1 dot what I'm calling a function, student name function. This is student name. So what is this going to do? It is going to return name of the student, this dot name. So this dot name contains Sachin, right? Similarly, roll number is also displayed by calling student roll number function. So look at how I'm calling that function using the object name student1 that we created here. Student1 dot student roll number. So this is going to return roll number of the student. Similarly, student1 dot branch. So this is going to return the branch of the student. So as a result, what will be the output on the screen? Name will be displayed like this in bold letters followed by a colon symbol concatenated with the value of the name. Similarly, roll number and branch also will be displayed. Look at this. Student details, a heading is displayed. Then after that, name Sachin, roll number 567, and branch is CSE. So this is how you can create object using constructors also. Using a constructor for that object directly. Instead of using the var keyword and creating an object as we have done in the previous class, you can do alternatively this way also. Fine. Is that okay? Understood, all of you? So please let me know this with your messages. Okay, fine. So with this, I want to complete this JavaScript part. So this is what I told you in the previous class, right? So I want to start second unit after winding up this JavaScript object creation. I told you small topic is left over. That is an alternative way of creating real-time objects, sorry, JavaScript objects. So I have done it. So now let us start the second unit. This is unit 2. This unit 2 will be completely based on Sensible Markup Language. Fine. So this is completely based on only one markup language. It is called as Extensible Markup Language. In short, we call it as XML. Okay. X stands for extensible, M stands for markup, L stands for language. So what is this XML? XML is just like HTML, another markup language. But the difference between HTML and XML is uh, there are some differences. Let me tell you those differences first. So this will be very simple when compared with JavaScript. XML will be very simple. The most complex part of this XML is not in creating XML documents, but extracting data from the XML document and parsing XML document. That will be a bit complex. You need to write programs in Java to implement them. So again, Java comes into picture here. In the lab, you have a program to implement this parsers called DOM parser and SAX parser. DOM and SAX parsers. So these topics also will be covered in this unit only, DOM and SAX parsers. So the difficult part or the complex part in XML is this one. Creating XML documents is very simple. The tags in XML will be user defined, not the predefined ones, unlike HTML. So you know HTML contains predefined HTML tags. Are you defining any tags of your own in HTML? You're not defining any tags of your own, right? In HTML, HTML tag, body tag, header tag, title tag, paragraph tag, H1, H2, H3 up to H6, heading tags, table tag, image tag, anchor tag. All these tags are predefined. They are already available in HTML language. You are not creating their names, right? But coming to XML, the tag names will be created by the user himself. Whatever name you want to give for your tag, you can give uh, that name. But you need to follow some rules, right? So that is one major difference between HTML and XML. But we cannot say what is if somebody asks what is XML, then you cannot say XML is a markup language which has user defined tags. That is not the reason, that is not the answer you need to give for this. The purpose of the XML is different when compared with HTML. So you know HTML is a markup language, and we have been using HTML for what purpose? For creating the user interface. The user interface components like text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, or present the data in the form of an image or in the form of a table, the form of a uh, paragraph or a heading. So, what is the purpose of HTML? Means HTML is used for HTML is used to present data, a web page. Coming to XML, XML is used for and transport data. Is used to store and transport data. So what do you mean by store and transport data? How can you store data in an XML document? How can you transport data? And why we need to store and transport data in XML? We have some other mechanism to store data. We have databases where you can store huge amount of data in any format, text data format, or when images and videos can also be stored on database. Then when you have such a database concept which you can using which you can store huge amount of data, why should we go for this XML? Fine. So the reason is, you know, on internet you'll find many different types of web applications. Those web applications can be either mobile based web applications like Facebook app or WhatsApp. All these things are also web applications, but they are mobile based applications. They run on mobile devices. And even the same Facebook even can be accessed using a mobile browser, sorry, laptop or a personal computer's browser, right? You can open the Gmail also, alternative to the mobile Gmail application. We have a web application which can be opened in a personal computer using a browser like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox, right? Any of the browsers. So anything is a web application. So when these web applications are available, many web applications are available on internet, right? On World Wide Web, not internet. We have to say World Wide Web actually. We are able to access this World Wide Web using internet. It doesn't mean that internet is hosting all this data. World Wide Web is hosting all the data, and you are able to access that data through internet. So when you have so many kinds of applications, when you compare these applications, are they constructed or developed using the same technologies? Some of the applications, say for example, Facebook is created using PHP, Facebook web application that we access on personal computers, that is created using PHP. And some other applications are created using Java technology, Java servlets or Java server pages. We also have many other frameworks in Java like Struts, Strings, Hibernate. All these are frameworks in Java. So using those frameworks, some sophisticated web applications can be created, and they are more secured when compared with the web applications that are created using PHP, because Java is more secure. I already told you when I was teaching Python, I think. So I compared Python and Java, and I told you why we prefer Java even today, because Java provides more security when compared with other technologies. Java is faster a bit when compared with Python. But the advantage of Python is it has more libraries. So at that time, I told you Java is more secure. So that is the reason we have many open source frameworks for Java using which you can create sophisticated web applications, right? So when all these web applications are created using different technologies, different backend technologies, and different server side technologies, different front end technologies, then accessing data from different technologies will be a difficult thing, right? So, for example, I have one program written in C language, another program written in Java, and my C program is going to generate some output, which I want to use it as input to my Java program. So how will my Java program access the content from that is generated by C program? Because the data representation format is different in C and the data representation in Java is different. So how can I get across technology access? Can I access the content of a C program from a Java program? It will not be possible for all the technologies. It may be possible for Java to access from C, but it may not be possible for C to access from Java or PHP to access from Java. So people are having, the enterprises are having this kind of difficulty when accessing some common data, which is used by many enterprises around the world. So to be able to access the simple data, we'll not access any sensible data, sensitive data or confidential data, but we'll be accessing the data which is public. And most of the time, this public information is a text data. It is not a multimedia data. It is a simple text data. To store that simple text data, we need a common platform where we can store, and from that common platform, every technology, irrespective of which technology you have constructed an application, you have designed an application, each of those application must be able to access uh, this person. Just like there are group of people, newly strangers, who arrived at a place and they want to communicate with each other, but they are from different parts of the world. They don't know each other's languages, and what is a common language we have to communicate with each other. Then even though they are from different parts of the world, different countries of the world, they may know commonly in English language. So what they'll do, they'll use that English platform to communicate with each other. So similarly, when you have many applications built upon using different technologies around the world, and these all these applications wants to share some information among each other, it will be difficult for them to share them with their own native technology. Instead, if they have a common platform, a simple textual data which can be, because every programming language can access simple text data from anywhere. If the data is represented in textual simple text representation, any programming technology can access the content of that, right? But if it is written in its own format, then other technology cannot be able to access, will not be able to access the content of this application. So to make simple things and create a generic place where you can access, from where you can store the data and transmit the data from one application to another application, we use this XML document. So by creating our own user-defined tags, what you're doing is we are storing the information about some object or a person or an entity, whatever it is. We are storing that particular object or person or any other entity's name or information within the tags that we create on our own or XML document. And the data can be accessed from this XML document either using a Java application or a PHP application or a Python application. Any application which is built using any technology will be able to access this XML. So how English is a common language spoken all around the world. Similarly, XML is also a common platform where you can store and transport data between different applications which are designed using different technologies. That is the purpose of XML. So simply we say XML is used to store and transport data. So why to store and why to transport? Store is because if it is stored, then only we can access it for later purpose, right? And once it is stored, if it has to be accessed by any kind of application, irrespective of which technology it is using, then we need a common platform from where you can access the data and transport the data. So that common platform is nothing but XML. Okay. So have any doubt regarding this theoretical presentation of this XML? Please let me know. If not, we can go ahead with writing a simple XML document and uh, how to create an XML document and how to save it. Hello. See, the class is not yet over. Still, we have 15 more minutes. Some people are leaving, I think. I didn't say class is over. Am I audible? Please let me know if you have any. Did you understand? What is the purpose of XML? So is the screen visible? Someone please speak. Okay. So extensible markup language. So this is what we are discussing now. So as I told you, what is XML and what is its purpose? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. So it is a markup language much like HTML. It was designed to store and transport data. It was designed to be self-descriptive. Self-descriptive in the sense we can create our own tags, right? And it is a recommendation from W3C. So what do you mean by W3C? W3C is nothing but an organization which will give recommendations for different technologies. Even uh, we call this as World Wide Web Consortium, WWW, 3Ws. What do you mean by 3W? World Wide Web Consortium. So W3 here means World Wide Web, right? World Wide Web Consortium. That is the meaning of W3C. W3 means 3Ws and C means consortium. W3C is a organization which will recommend various internet related issues to tackle various issues related to web applications or internet based applications. So now look at this slide, next slide. What does XML do? Strictly saying, it doesn't do anything. So look at this example program, simple snippet, XML code snippet. So I'm creating a tag called course. So this is my own tag. This is not a predefined tag. I gave the name for this tag as course, right? And then the name. Look at the course. This is a parent tag. So this is open here and closed here. And inside this course tag, I'm creating three more child tags called name tag, instructor, and class. Right. So name. In between the name opening and closing tag, I'm storing some information called name of the course. So this is representing this simple program is representing or storing some information related to a course. Right? So what kind of information it is representing means name of the course, who is the instructor for delivering this course, and to which class that instructor is going to deliver this course. This information I want to store, so I can create a small XML document and store that information this way. So I've created a root tag called course. Then for that, three child tags. So inside this course tag, we have created three child tags, namely name, instructor, and class. So name tag is going to store web technologies, the course name, and instructor tag is going to hold the name of the instructor for this course, and the class is going to store class and section, which class and which year and which course they are studying, whether it is BTech or BSc or something else. So third BTech CSEA. This is the class to which this instructor is going to deliver this course called web technology. So this is how you can store some information in an XML document. Now you can, if you create, when you create a XML document like this, you can access this data using any application, using an application which is designed in Java, using an application which is designed in PHP, using an application which is designed using Python also. So in using any of these three, any technologies that are available in the market, you can access this data because this data is represented in the simple text form. Okay. So what is mentioned here in the second point, the XML above is quite self-descriptive. It has course name, instructor name, and class. So as I told you, XML is used to store data, How the information is stored? By wrapping up in a tags. And how are the tags created? Same syntax that we use for HTML tags. The name of the tags are user defined. Right? So difference between XML and HTML. So already I discussed most of the points. So they are designed with different goals. XML was designed to carry data with focus on what data is, whereas HTML was designed to display data with focus on how data looks like. So data looks like means what? Whether it looks like a paragraph, like a table, or an image. So that is meaning of looks like. The major focus of HTML is on how the data looks like, whereas XML is what the data is. XML tags are not predefined like HTML tags are. XML has no predefined tags. HTML works with predefined tags. With XML, the author must define both the tags and the document structure, right? So when you're creating an XML document, it is the responsibility of the user or the programmer to define his own tags and the structure of the document also, which must be the root tag, which must be the uh, immediate child tag, and how many child tags must be there for that tag. Everything is that is nothing but the structure. That structure is defined by the programmer himself, unlike HTML. Whereas in HTML, the structure is not defined by us. It has a structure which has a root tag HTML, and we cannot use any other tag as a root tag. And for HTML, immediately you have two child tags, head and body tags. And again, head has some uh, child tags like title, style, script. These are the three commonly used child tags for head section, head tag. Right? For body, there are many tags: paragraph tag, H1 heading tags, image tags, table tags, tr tags, anchor tags. All these are child nodes for body tag. Right? That way, the structure we are not defining our own structure for our HTML document, but coming to XML, the structure of the XML document is also created by our own, by the user or the programmer himself. And the next and the last one is XML is extensible, which means XML application will work as expected even if new data is added or removed. So you can create an XML document in such a way that you can extend that XML document to store more data or remove the existing data. That means it can expand or contract, right, as and when required. So you can expand the XML document, you can add more tags into that XML document and store more information. When you don't want some information from the XML document, you can remove them. So by removing them, some tags will be removed, right? So that is the meaning of extensible. And you know what is basically a markup language? Markup language is nothing but which will mark a beginning and ending of something, right? So we have discussed about this markup language in HTML also. So just like HTML marks up beginning of a paragraph, ending of a paragraph, something. Here also XML also will mark the beginning of some information and ending of some information. But the difference is XML is extensible, unlike HTML. HTML is not extensible. We cannot create our own tags and add new content into the HTML. You can create in a predefined context. You can create as many predefined tags as you want, but you cannot create your own tags and add additional information to your HTML. Right? So that is why we use the term extensible. So XML simplifies things. So what do you mean by XML simplifies things? It simplifies data sharing and transport as it stores data in plain text form. So this also I already told you. So what is that unique thing that is enabling this XML to store data and transport data in between diverse applications developed using different technologies? Because it stores the data in plain text form. So that is the reason why XML can be used by any technology. It simplifies platform changes by making it easier to expand or upgrade to new operating systems, new applications, or new browsers without losing data. So even if your operating system is changed from Windows operating system to some Linux-based operating system or some Mac operating system, or your browser is upgraded, you're uninstalling an older version of browser and starting to use a new version of browser. So whatever you do, whatever updates you make to your device from which you are accessing these applications, the XML will not be affected with that, right? So the data will not be lost, it will not be lost, and it will remain as it is because the plain text format representation will not change, even though your applications upgrade to different configurations. It simplifies data availability to all kinds of reading machines like people, computers, voice machines, etc. I told you, XML, by storing data in XML, the data will be available for different types of device machines. Machines in the sense it may be your personal computer, it may be a smartphone, or it may be a supercomputer or any other server computer, whatever it is. On any kind of machines, any kind of devices, and any kind of people can access this data. So the usage of XML. I already mentioned all these points before starting of this PPT or point presentation. It can work behind the scene to simplify the creation of HTML documents for large websites. So this point you can understand only when you start creating some complex web applications. It can work behind the scene to simplify the creation of HTML documents for large websites. So if some information is stored in this XML document, you can extract by using any scripting language. Even JavaScript also can be used to extract the information stored in this XML document and then send it to the HTML code so that the HTML code will present it on the web page. XML is not going to present it, right? It is going to be in the background. It will not be visible to the users. But so that is the reason why we say behind the scenes. It will work behind the scene to simplify the creation of HTML documents for large websites. Because we are storing data in an XML document and retrieving the data and displaying it using HTML code. So HTML code's effect will be visible to us, but XML effect will not be visible to us. So that is why we say it is behind the screen. XML can be used to exchange the information between organizations and systems. This is also I already told different organizations or enterprises. So they will be using applications, their applications designed using different technologies. So the information can be exchanged between these organizations without any problem because data will be can be accessed in a plain text format by any other technology. XML can be used for offloading and reloading of databases. So we can store database related information, database name, table names, and all these things in an XML document. And when you want to offload the database from a server and post the database on some another server, you can store the information related to this databases in XML documents. Then transport this XML document to a new machine, and there you can configure the database again with that information. So that is the meaning of this. XML can be used for offloading and reloading of databases. Then XML can be used to store and arrange the data, which can customize your data handling needs. So as I told you, XML can store data and it can arrange the data, which can customize your data handling needs. As per your requirements, you can create that data because XML uses user-defined tags. So whatever name you want to give to the tags, you can give that name and store that information as per your requirement, not predefined, right? So similarly, XML can easily be merged with style sheets to create almost any desired output. So you can also use style sheets with XML. So I think I don't know whether it is part of your syllabus or not. If it is there, then I'll show you how to do that also. Virtually any type of data can be expressed as an XML document. Any kind of data can be represented in an XML document. The structure of XML document, it also follows the tree-like structure that we followed in HTML. So XML documents are formed as element trees. XML tree starts at a root element and branches from the root to child elements. So you will have a root element, Then you'll have some child elements, and again that child element may have subchild elements. Again, subchild may have another subchild element. That way, you can arrange the elements in tree-like structure. HTML, this root element is HTML. In place of root, you'll have HTML. Here you have head. Again, in the same level, you'll have body also. This head subchild can be an example of title tag in HTML. But coming to XML, this root tag is not predefined and it is not fixed. It may be different in different documents. In my document, the root tag may be something employee, right? In your document, it may be student, right? So in my document, the child tag may have name, and you also may have name. And another child may have roll number for you, and maybe employee ID for me, EID for me, right? So that way, the tag names will vary, but definitely the structure will remain the same. Definitely, there must be only one root tag. There cannot be multiple root tags. So whichever is the outermost tag here, that is called as a root tag. So you'll have a root element like this. For example, you can take as bookstore as an element, root element here. And immediately for it, you have a child element called book. So for bookstore, element book is child, and for bookstore is parent. And attribute. This book tag can also have attributes with names, say category, just like body tag, paragraph tag, H1 tag. They have attributes like align attribute, bg color attribute. Similarly, even XML tags can also have attributes. Then book tag in turn have how many childs? 4 childs. Title child, author child tag, year tag, price tag. So these 4 tags are child tags for book tag. And this title tag has again an attribute called lang, right? And author doesn't have any attribute, year doesn't have any attribute, price doesn't have any attribute. So we can call this title, author, year, price as siblings, just like head and body are siblings for HTML doc, because they are in the same level as the tree representation, head and body, right? So they are siblings. And in turn, this title element has some text information stored, everyday Italian. So the title of the book is Everyday Italian, and author name for the this other that is stored in the other tag is this other name, right? Laurentis. Element tag, that is sorry, year tag, it stores the year in which this book is published, and this price tag will store the information about the price of this text, say $30 or something. So this can be represented like this with another example. This is an example of an XML document, right? So you need to mention this tag XML version. So open the angular bracket, give a question mark, and then use in smaller case letters XML. Version is equal to 1.0. The encoding is the character encoding that we are going to use. I hope you know what is encoding. You must have learned by now in computer network subject. You have computer network subject in this semester, I think, right? So you have something called encoding. This encoding is used for uh, data representation globally, and this is globally accepted encoding scheme. Just like ASCII code you must have learned about ASCII code, right? American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So the common encoding scheme that is used now universally is UTF-8 and UTF-16. So here we are using encoding scheme as UTF-8. So this is a root tag, bookstore. It is opened here and closed here. Then you have siblings as child for bookstore. This is another book tag. This is another book tag. So you can have multiple book tags, right? Just like you use multiple paragraph tags, multiple TR tags, multiple H1 tags, single HTML document. You can also create a same tag multiple times. Now I want to store 3 different books information. So I'm storing 3 different books. So for the book tag, as I mentioned here, we have an attribute called category. So category attribute is equal to P. The title lang attribute is there for title tag, en in short for English. The title is stored here as simple text, everyday Italian. Then author name is stored in between, author tag. Year in which it is published is stored in year tag, and price is stored in price tag. This is related to one book. And if you want to store information about another book, then you create another sibling for book. This time category is equal to children, and title is given as something Harry Potter. Author is J.K. Rowling. Year 2005. Price 29.99. So this is another book information. So this is another book information. Category is web. Title is Learning XML. Author is Eric Tire. Year 2003. Price 39.95. So in that way, you can store information related to anything by creating your own tag names. So this bookstore is not a predefined; it is user defined. You can create. So how to store this file in your system is write this program in any notepad and store this, save it as .xml file. You give any name to that file. It is up to you what name you are going to give. But at the end, you must have .xml, just like for HTML document, how you are giving .html. For XML document, you give .xml, right? So this is introduction about XML document. So we will continue the next class. So those who have not texted your roll numbers, please text your roll numbers and then leave. If you have already texted your roll numbers, then you can leave. If you have already texted your roll numbers, please don't text again.